being airdropped from a cargo plane in an AMG-1, I arrive at the festival site to fanfare and fireworks. The organisers are delighted. Their superstar is finally here, and to celebrate they offer me a choice of starting car. I leave the site and head to my first race in a Corvette Stingray Coupe. This isn't how racing games are supposed to start. I should be battling for wins in some aging hatchback, dreaming of the day I can get behind the wheel of something sleek and fast. Instead, I'm being handed a 500 horsepower supercar to just tear through the streets of Mexico. It makes sense if you think about it. Forza Horizon 5 doesn't need to do what other racing games would do, it just needs to be a Forza Horizon game, because Horizon's brand of vehicular playground antics has no serious rival. Sim racing is a competitive field, but on the more arcade side, it's not looking very healthy. Burnout Paradise showed the promise of open world racing back in 2008, but for whatever reason EA just didn't follow it up. The Need for Speed series ping-ponged between varying degrees of arcade and simulation for years, never carving out any identity for itself. Dirt is similarly confused. The strength of its Dirt Rally spin-offs leaves the parent series unsure of what it's meant to be. Forza Horizon hasn't so much pulled ahead of the pack as it's just finished the race, and it's now free to amuse itself. Forza Horizon 5 knows this. It feels unchallenged. It's not being forced to reinvent the wheel, and so it's content to just hone and refine, to be the best Forza Horizon it can be. If you've played any previous Forza Horizon game, you already know what this means. A map filled with more icons than a Ubisoft open world, each donating a race event, a PR stunt, a rumour about some vintage car, a series of challenges organised into a handful of stories. As you win races, you unlock more events, new cars, more money. As you drive, you earn skill points for everything from drifting to crashing through destructible scenery. Your garage, it fills at an absurd rate. I've played for around 20 hours, enough to unlock all of the festival outposts and their various upgrades, and have collected 93 of the 526 cars available at launch. As you win races and complete events, you're bombarded with rewards. You earn accolades, mini-achievements that act as Forza Horizon 5's career progression, some of which reward new cars and new phrases to spam in multiplayer. And then, as you fill out the new collections page that displays the full roster of vehicles as collectible cards, you earn more bonuses for completing each specific manufacturer. Collecting new cars, then, is more about broadening your options than upgrading to newer and better vehicles. You'll likely get an S2 class car, among the best and fastest, in your first few hours, but thanks to the restrictions present in the seasonal playlist, you're encouraged to chase many different makes and models. This seasonal playlist is the heart of Forza Horizon 5's live service. Each week takes place in a new season and offers a variety of events and challenges, usually with restrictions to class, type, and a difficulty. It's summer in-game right now, which means it's the wet season in Horizons Mexico. In one seasonal championship, I battled the pouring rain in a B-Class classic muscle car to win a Ford Hunican V2 that's since become a mainstay of my drift zone attempts. In another, I fought through the mud in an A-Class modern sports car to win a Steamboat car horn. Elsewhere in the game, you're free to pick your class, and the game will pit you against relevant opponents. The seasonal playlist then succeeds by forcing you out of your comfort zone, making you think about how to overcome the restrictions. We've had plenty of looter shooters at this point, but the Forza Horizon series is slowly turning into the first looter racer, and it suits the series well, giving you reasons to think about your garage and what fits your next goal. Without the seasonal restrictions, for instance, I'd probably never have bothered to tune any of my cars. With so many available, there's little need to tinker with any specific one. But then the playlist asked me to complete a specific jump with an S1 class retro sports car, something that isn't available in the shop. So I picked out one of my lower class cars. Sure enough, a custom tune existed to upgrade it to requirement. Naturally, the playlist provides even more rewards. As you complete events, you earn progress towards the exclusive and hard to find cars that are available both each season and each series, which is a wider umbrella that spans across the 4 seasons of the year. If you've played Forza Horizon 4 a few months after its release, you'll recognise this system. It's the same that game eventually introduced, just present here from the launch. That's kind of a theme with Forza Horizon 5. Eliminator Battle Royale modes, Super 7 community challenges, both were multiplayer modes added after launching Forza Horizon 4, and here are just available immediately. You've probably noticed at this point that I've not talked about anything truly new to Forza Horizon 5, and that's for a good reason. Yes, there's a new event type, Expeditions, used to unlock the outposts that contain Horizon's different racing disciplines. You go to a new area, complete some optional objectives, and your map fills up with new road, street, dirt, or cross-country races. Even so, calling this a new feature may be overstating the point. With so many different event types already, any slight variation struggles to stand out. The most exciting new addition, Event Labs, will take some time to make itself known. This is the new custom race creator, which lets players drive out their own route to then share with the community. But more than just a course maker, it comes bundled with a rules editor that lets you create a series of if-then statements that can be used to make new challenges, theoretically whole new game modes. The few examples currently available, created and shared by the Playground Games team, certainly demonstrate the flexibility of the system, for instance turning a late game endurance race into a pinata popping minigame. Beyond that, it remains to be seen, but I'm looking forward to the community at large getting to grips with what's possible. Really then, the major new feature of Forza Horizon 5 is simply its setting. Mexico is more varied and vibrant than Forza Horizon 4's UK, with rainforests, towns, deserts, and many cacti to bash into. The weather is more interesting too, dust storms adding an atmospheric twist to events. Throughout, the game's characters reference Mexican culture and history, although it's all filtered through the series' relentless positivity. It's hard to think of its world as a real place, not because it's a pick and mix truncation of real locations, but because it exists in a universe where bad things don't happen. Everyone is loving life all the time. The festival is a constant party, destruction, skill checks, and harsh vibes don't exist. What of the other racers who don't get to compete in the big showcase events? Are they resentful of you, its superstar? No, because they're the game's other players, who exist as ghosts in your open world to team up with for collaborative events. They're off in their own version of the game's world where they too are the star. Here, everybody wins. This is Horizon's whole deal though, and while I might roll my eyes at the dialogue, I can't pretend I don't get swept up in the atmosphere. It would be reasonable to critique the series for its relentless commitment to ignoring the real issues of the locations it visits. Certainly, one side story that can be glibly summarised as "rich people have feelings too" felt especially tone deaf in a game where I'm being handed free houses and Pagani Zondas. But it's so hard for me to think of its fiction as anything approaching reality that to do so seems trite. Obviously it's nonsense, but it's also having a lot of fun. I find it impossible not to be dragged along for the ride. Inevitably, as I play, I have a big dumb grin on my face. It's just that kind of game. Similarly, I can't really criticise it for not innovating the series, making big sweeping changes for the sake of it feeling more different. It's easy to forget given how effortless everything feels, but the sheer detail of its environments and the level of craft evident in each of its over 500 cars is astounding. Forza Horizon 5 isn't a full sim, sure, but it's not overly arcadey either. Each car has its own personality, and it's capable of offering a serious challenge if you turn off the many optional assists. It's just realistic enough, and the detail in modelling is absurd. Each car's interior lovingly recreated for the Forza Vista viewing mode. This is what happens when a series gets to exist without any serious competition. It gets to focus on and perfect the things it's most interested in. It gets to take the improvements made over the course of its predecessor's life and plan to build a new game around their inclusion. It gets to hone its driving model and enhance its graphics, not drastically so, but just enough to be noticeable. While I'd love to know what Forza Horizon would look like if it had any serious rivals forcing it towards greater innovation, I'll happily make do with playing the most polished and confident Forza Horizon game made to date.